Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Bob here, and today I have what is probably the coolest G-Shock I've ever had in on the channel. This thing is, first of all, packed with some awesome tech, but on top of that, there's just so many great little details bringing it to that next level. This is my first hands-on experience with an MRG, and wow, it is seriously impressive. Big thanks to Gem Bijou for lending in the watch. Gem Bijou has been really good about getting us out some very cool watches to take a look at together here on the channel. So props to them for that. If you're shopping watches, check them out at gembijou.com. So let's get right to it and take a look at the watch. All right, now a couple things before we get into the watch. This is a brand new watch and I only have it a couple of days. The spec sheet and list of functions is gigantic and I just don't have time to go through all that. I'm sure there's tutorials out there for it, but for today, just a quick breakdown of some of the functions, but I really want to show you guys the kind of detail that goes into a G-Shock that's at this price range. I've always been a little gun shy of G-Shocks once they get to this level, but having this in hand now, you can really see where the pricing starts to make sense. Price, by the way, is 3K USD for this one, and because of that, most of you guys are probably like me and would go for a nice automatic piece before this. There is no denying, though, this thing is awesome. So there's a few things happening with this watch that pay tribute to ancient Japanese culture, and it's really cool that they combine that with the modern tech and materials. The case on the watch is made from titanium and uses what they call deep layer hardening with a DLC coating. The bezel is also made of titanium, but it's been heat treated to give it a crystal pattern on its surface. It's meant to resemble the ni on Japanese sword blades, and from what I'm reading, ni are crystals visible on some sword blades and has to do with the materials they use during the forging process. The bezel kind of reminded me of the meteorite dials I've seen on watches in the past. Kind of also has a forged carbon look to it. The color combination with the rose gold and blue accents looks really good. The buttons are sunken into almost a protective sleeve, so you're not likely to push them accidentally. The signed crown is a screw down crown, so same goes for that. Shouldn't have any problems with this thing performing any functions or adjusting something when it shouldn't be. The case back is screwed to the case at the four corners there, and in the center we have the MRG logo. So there's quite a lot of information available to you here on the dial, and we'll go through some of that here in a second, but the blue accents are Kachi-Iro, which means winning color. It was often used by the samurai on their helmets and armor. It goes from a somewhat muted blue to a very vibrant metallic blue, depending on the lighting. Quick rundown on the subdials. The lower left subdial shows us a second time zone. As you cycle through the functions of the watch, that changes from a second time zone to, for example, a minute and hour counter for the stopwatch and countdown timer. It serves a few different purposes. Tucked in at the bottom right of it is the AM PM indicator. Top left is the time in 24 hours, and I think it's kind of a nice touch that even the very small hands are blue like that. Over at the 3 shows the day and also cycles through the different modes, stopwatch, timer, and alarm, and shows whether you've opted for daylight savings time, standard time, or automatic. Below that is the date between the 4 and 5 o'clock hour markers. Speaking of hour markers, the finish is amazing. Love how they have that curvature to them. They're absolutely gorgeous. Around the perimeter of the dial, there's that pattern that's meant to look like a Japanese fan. As soon as I saw it, my mind went to the fluted Rolex bezel for some reason, but The details seem endless almost. The dial texture, the colors, there's no shortage of eye candy here at all. Even in low light, it performs well. We've got some decent lume, not the greatest, but not bad at all. And as a backup, we do also have the LED illumination, and it has that nice fade when you hit the button as it turns on and off. The strap is made with fluoro rubber, nice quality material. The clasp is titanium signed MRG. It's still stickered up, but I'll open it up here and you can see we've got solid hardware there. I really like the strap and the clasp except for one area, and that is the fact that you do have to cut this strap to size it. I'm not crazy about that at all. I haven't sized the watch to get the full effect, but I've had a couple of watches where I've had to cut the strap, and if ever you want to move the watch out of the collection down the road, it can be a bit of an issue. As an alternative, there is another model of this watch, a slightly different colorway that includes a bracelet. It comes on a bracelet, so if the rubber strap is an issue for you, there is another option. Size-wise, the watch is big, but nothing crazy compared to some G-Shocks out there. Case width at its widest point is about 49.3 millimeters without the crown and 51.4 with the crown. There's a few ways to measure the lug to lug, but from the tip of the end links, it's 54 millimeters. Thickness is right around 16.5 millimeters. The water resist is 200 meters and the crystal is sapphire with an anti-reflective treatment. Couple of other basics that we haven't covered yet. The watch is solar and we also have multi-band 6. So again, I haven't sized the watch, but here's a look on my 7¼ inch wrist to give you an idea of how it wears. I would absolutely love to have a watch like this, but the $3K price tag is a little steep for me. Still a pretty amazing watch though, and I wish I had a little bit more time to really go through everything, fully learn the module and try out the Bluetooth connectivity, the app, all that, but still really cool to be able to get hands-on with it for a few days. Thanks again to Gem Bijou for making it happen. You can find them at gembijou.com. Link will be below. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.